My people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough.
This is the Patriots Prayer Podcast. It's a tremendous show, one of the greatest shows in the history of the world.
This is Bryson Gray, and you are watching the Patriots Prayer.
PPN, you're doing the right thing.
On the Patriots Prayer Network. Thank you all.
And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American.
I ain't never gonna pretend that I give a damn. Anybody who's offended, come get it, we throwing hands. Anybody not trying to make America great again. You a punk, you a clown, better know where I stand. I'm the white boy with the middle fingers in the air, dog.
We don't give a what.
100 white boys gonna hold me down anywhere, dog.
We think that you suck.
My Patriots, the craziest. They ain't afraid of breaking fists on faces. If you really wanna taste of this, don't safety tip. The same mistake and spray the clip. I pray you miss, cause if you don't, they gon' go wacko. Automatic gun smoke like tobacco. Never hit a lady, but it's pretty hard to tell if you're a girl or a they, them, there's these, that, those. I ain't never gonna take a knee for the anthem. Smack them, I don't give a damn, can't stand them. Gang full of randoms, fan with a handgun. Run up in your mansion, leave it all abandoned. I was raised to be brave, to the grave, United States. We love the country that they've been corrupting. Go woke and go broker if you ain't awake.
My people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags. American flags. American flags. And every time we pull up, all you...
Welcome, everyone, to this special Sunday edition from the Patriots Prayer Network. I'm Maurice, the native patriot, privileged to be the host for today's interview with the greatest independent artist of all time, Tom MacDonald. This is the living legend who turned the music industry into his own personal punching bag. A one-man wrecking crew who doesn't just break the rules, he's burnt the rulebook and built his own empire from the ashes. No label, no manager, no PR puppets pulling the strings. Just raw talent, relentless hustle, and a middle finger to the machine. He touts over 20 Billboard chart placements, 14 number ones, and he's constantly adding to his resume, including his latest hit, Man in the Sky. Tom's proven you don't need a leash to lead the pack. His music's become a sword that's sliced through the noise, separating the free thinkers who question everything from the sheep who beat along to the mainstream's lullaby. He's met Trump on live TV, topped iTunes charts, outsold the industry's darlings with albums like The Brave, and he's done it all his way, with Nova Rockefeller by his side and beats he's cooked up himself. Ladies and gentlemen, this isn't just a rapper. This is the greatest independent artist of all time, a cultural icon, a rebel king who's rewritten the game and made the world pick a side. Please welcome Tom MacDonald to the Patriots Prayer Network.
Thanks for having me, brother. I need you to write my bio, man. Holy cow.
Well, I mean, it's hard to introduce somebody like you who has gone from being, completely independent, turning down the music industry and breaking every rule in the book to get to where you are today. And I truly believe that you are the number one independent artist in the entire world. Thank you for joining us here on the network. I can't thank you enough, man. But Tom, how you doing?
Oh, it's my pleasure for being here, man. Thanks for having me. Good. Tired. I just woke up from a nap about 20 minutes ago. We just been running hot over here, man. We got a lot of irons in the fire right now. So it's been, it's usually 16, 17-hour days. And the last few have run even a little longer than that. So yeah, lots of work to do, but things are good, man. Just like you said, just breaking rules and causing shit,
I think your latest song, it seems, has that been your most successful song yet, Man in the Sky? Or is it somewhere up near the top?
Yeah, it's somewhere up there, man. It's really difficult to measure like what has been like the most successful song, because there's so many like different metrics that you can sort of measure that through. And like, there's songs like that. The record I did with Ben Shapiro has 20 million views, and like Fake Woke that came out in 2021 has like 50 million views or something. So it's hard to really measure that. But what I can say about Man in the Sky is like it independently hit radio. I had no idea it was happening. I was like sitting at my house one day and I got tagged in a photo from a radio station on Instagram that just said they were playing it. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe this it's not something that I would have expected to do particularly well on radio, especially like with how corporate radio's become. And like, when's the last time you heard a song that talked about God or politics or anything like on the radio? I don't even remember. So so I started chasing that down and hitting up more stations and sending the record in, and da 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 da. And now it's been spun like 250 times across America, and it's in high rotation. I just co-hosted a morning show with a country station in Denver the other day, which was wild. But the impact that that song has had, like I can just tell from the messages that people are sending me and the stories that they're giving me about how that song relates to their life. Like I can tell that the impact that it's having on the individual is probably greater than something that has 50 million views. So depending on like the metric that you measure it with, I definitely say that there are areas where this is my most impactful, most successful song today. So,
And I will say that your journey has been fascinating to watch from the outside, because as you went from your previous life, I would say, before you were with Nova, and before as you were trying to make it, it seemed like there was I mean, you don't look the type, right? I'm from a very small town out in Washington State, 2,500 people. I've been redskin redneck my entire life, and I remember showing you the first song I ever heard from you was "White Boy," and I remember showing you to my wife, and she's like, that's kind of a different artist than you usually listen to. But I was like, yes, but his message is there. Like he's on to something. I mean, really, really unique. And I don't know if that was the start of your journey, kind of this way, in becoming the artist you are today, and I guess building your faith along the way as well. But where would you picture your kind of faith in beginning and actually really taking off, and then wanting to say it to the world?
yeah, I don't know. I guess that's like there's different parts to that. Like I always, my parents, like I always went to church when I was a kid. My dad's folks, my grandma and granddad, I think my grandma's dad was a pastor, my uncle's a pastor, and they always took me to church with them. And for whatever reason, like my parents just never really like forced it on me. They were always like, and they never forced politics or really any of their ideas or opinions about the world. They never really pushed too much of it to me. They just sort of let me make my own decisions, and just see the world and do my own, computing and digesting, and wherever that landed me, they were going to support. But so when I was a kid, my uncle, who was the pastor, his family, my cousins, would go to church every Sunday. And they went to youth group and the church basketball team and stuff like that. So I was I have a very close knit family, so I'm at their house all the time. And anytime I was there on a Sunday, they'd ask, "Hey, Thomas, do you want to come to church?" And I'd go, and I'd go to the youth groups and play basketball with those kids. And I always prayed since I was a child. But there was like a period of my life where I just sort of lost touch with like who I was at my core and who Tom was as a child. And I got really into drugs and alcohol and partying and just making just poor decisions, man. That's really what it came down to. And so I sort of like lost touch with like where I'd come from for probably, it had to be like 6 or 7 years. And then sort of what happened was I was drinking like way too much and partying every day. And then I had this like huge, like this big mental breakdown, and it was this very scary time. And my dad was out sailing, and I was living in Vancouver at the time, and my mom was in Alberta, which was a province away in Canada. And I mean, I was literally like on death's door, man. Like it was really gnarly. I sort of like lost my mind. I went to all these doctors and they put me on all these different pills and nothing was working. And the healthcare system in Canada is absolutely atrocious. And like, I couldn't even get in to see a therapist for like 6 months. And I'm like at the point where I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to survive a week, like let alone 6 months. Like it was really gnarly. The Reader's Digest is like 9 months later, I sort of get a grasp on myself again and come out of this like long standing psychosis and anxiety and depression and all this terrible stuff. And when I come out of that, my lawyer calls and says, "Hey, your visa's approved. You can go to America." And I was like, "Awesome!" Like I just started feeling better 3 days ago. Like let's go. So I come to the States, and this is 10. I don't know. It's got to be 10 or 11 years ago at this point. And I'm back and forth a couple times, and ultimately I end up in South Central, living with Nova. And at this point in time, like I might be saying like a prayer here or there, but I certainly haven't been to church in 10 years or really paid too much mind to it at all. And Nova and I are living in South Central. We're like in extreme poverty. We're in a house with like a crooked landlord, and there's like rats and mice in the house and cockroaches all in the cupboards, and rain's coming through the roof when the weather's not good. And we literally could not afford to pay our rent and do groceries in the same month. So, and we were doing our groceries at the dollar store, like the 99-cent like government cheese, like it doesn't even melt. You like put it in the microwave and it just turns black and kind of like goes limp, but it doesn't even like it was gnarly, dude, really gnarly. And
Not the best diet, huh?
no, dude, it was bad. So we're living in South Central, and man, sometimes we'd live by flashlight for like a month because we couldn't afford our electrical bill. So we'd like plug our fridge into an extension cord, run it out the window, and plug it into my neighbor's garage so our 99-cent store food didn't spoil when our power got cut off. And it was ugly. And I remember this one day I'm sitting in the house and I'm listening to the radio, and this song comes on the radio, and I don't recall who it was. It was like either like Drake or G-Eazy or some big famous like mainstream rapper at the time. And the song that was playing on the radio that I was listening to is sort of this like, woe is me, complaining about fame, complaining about money, complaining about all of these things that people typically value or aspire to have at some point in their life. And I just remember I had absolutely nothing, and I'm living in this terrible house, and I'm still smoking cigarettes and drinking occasionally, and I'm hot off this mental breakdown, and I'm doing the music thing, and it's, like hitting my head against the wall. It's not reaching anybody. And I remember hearing this song on the radio, and I was just like, I mean, I hate to say it, but I was like offended by it. I was like, how dare this person like dog on all of these things that I would literally give anything to have. That's the life that I aspire to be living as a result of my music, and this person's complaining about it. And I remember I was upset by that. And dude, it was the damnedest thing. It was to this day, like I don't even really know how to accurately describe it, but there was half of a cigarette left in my cigarette pack. And I was, in addition to being offended, I guess I was inspired by what I had heard. It lit something up inside of me anyways, stirred something around in my soul. And I got up from the computer and walked to the front door, and I had this half a cigarette, and it was like the last cigarette I had in the house, which is a big fucking problem when you're addicted to smoking cigarettes and you have no money.
Yeah.
And I went out and sat on the front porch, and I lit that cigarette, and I just remember the first thing I wrote down was "Dear Rappers." And I started writing this like open letter to mainstream hip hop. And man, in the course of about 10 minutes, that song was complete. And I remember sitting there staring at my phone afterwards, and I don't remember rhyming any words or stopping to think what needs to come after this, or, what's the next line, or what's the chorus going to be, or anything. It was literally like, and this, as crazy as it sounds, it was literally like God spoke through me that day. It was like he like looked down and saw my situation and was just like, you know what, kid, like I put you here for a reason, and you were meant for more than the way that you're living right now. And I'm going to give you a little peek at like how we can work together instead of you working on your own and abandoning the person who you used to be. And that song just poured out of me into my phone. And I remember sitting there looking at my phone being like, how did that just happen? And I went into the house and Nova was on her computer and I was like, Nova, exact words, Nova, I just wrote the song that's going to change our life. We need to shoot a music video like right now. She's like, you haven't even recorded the song yet. I was like, I'm going to go to the computer. I'm going to record it right now. While I'm doing that, can you set up the backdrop and get the camera? So as I'm recording the song, Nova sets up this backdrop, puts your camera on sticks on a tripod. And we had this $20 light from Amazon that we stuck a red piece of gel over top of. So it was like a red light. We shot this video called Dear Rappers that day in the living room. I still have the email. I sent it to my best friend. I sent it to my buddy Brandon Hart, who's also a musician. And the subject of the email is, I just wrote the song that's going to change my life. And the only thing in the email is the song was attached to it. And that was it. Shot the video that night. This is how grim things are. The next day, the video's edited and it's ready to go. And I mean, I got 1,500 people that like my Facebook page and less than that on Instagram and, you know, whatever else, no social media presence whatsoever. So I hit up my sister, my younger sister, and asked her if I could borrow $200 to put an ad on this video. And she gave me $200. She was a nurse at the time. And I've since retired her from that job. And I called.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And I called my mom and I got $200 from her. And I called Brandon, got $200 from him, called some other people. I ended up with $1,100. And, you know, I told everybody, I promise you, I will pay you back for this $200. This song, this is the one, I promise. And as somebody that had been making music for, you know, whatever it was at the time, 8 years, you know how many times I thought I had the one, the song that was going to change everything that didn't. So, you know, I'm sure it sounded like a pipe dream to everybody that I'm borrowing $200. And they might have thought, oh, he's going to go buy fucking beer or something. Who knows? But I put that $1,100 on the video the next day and we dropped it. And 2 days later, it had over 1 million views. And we were off to the races. Like a month after that, a check came in the mail for $11,000. And Nova and I had never seen that amount of money before. So then the next month, and it was 20 grand, and then it was 30, and then it was 40, and then it was 60, and then it was time to get the fuck out of Crenshaw and move somewhere else. And you know, because I wasn't sure. I was like, oh, is this like some sort of like overnight, like by chance, luck of the draw thing? And we're going to get this 11 grand and it's the last money that we're going to see for the rest of our lives. So we stayed in Crenshaw for another year, 6 months, 8 months, whatever it was. And then moved out and came up from there. But it was just really crazy that like you know, as a kid, had this relationship with God and went to church and did these things and then sort of strayed from the path and just became an absolute loser. And then 8 years later, I have this moment sitting on the front porch in my darkest hour. And he just comes to me and says, here's a song, run with it.
I think the most important part of that entire story is the fact that you answered the call. Right, because there are plenty of times where in people's darkest moments they will have revelations or pieces like that and miss that opportunity. But it seems, and I feel it every time I listen to your music now, the genuine way in which you write your music and the lyrics come out of you. You have a unique talent in order to not just grasp the zeitgeist of what's going on in the country or the current cultural narrative, but the way that you do it is very genuine. And I know that a lot of people, I mean, in North America and around the world really have been looking for genuine people and ones who will not back down and be afraid of something like the music industry. I know that you've had a couple songs, one of my all-time favorites being Satanic Rappers, where basically you call out the music industry for what it is and you stand your ground and say, I'm going to do it my own way. And I think that's one of the big things that people really appreciate is one, the genuine way to do this. I mean, for example, today on this interview, I gave you no questions beforehand. You're jumping into this interview completely blind, and that's one of the things nowadays that really separates the genuine people from the puppets in the industry who have been used to push a kind of a satanic outcome for this country. So, I mean, I really, really appreciate you coming on. I mean, with no pre-scripted questions or anything like that. So it's just so cool to see just how different and unique you are, someone like you is, and Nova from the entirety of the industry. So, with answering that call,
I'll tell you right now, man. And
yeah,
on the topic of answering the call, there was probably a million signs along the way that I completely missed or ignored or was ignorant to because I was so caught up in drinking and just doing other things. I didn't want to hear. I didn't want the answer to my problems. I just wanted to continue doing what I was doing at that time. So, you know, what happened with Dear Rappers, it might have been the 100th attempt that God made to try and connect with me. And I just, for whatever reason, in that moment was receptive to it. But yeah, man, like, you know, I've gone into interviews with Piers Morgan with no questions beforehand and stuff. And he's a problem. So, you know, you see a lot of these celebrities and stuff, dude. Like when I first started out, people were like, oh, you need media training. You're going to be doing all these interviews. And I'm just like, you know who needs media training? People that are full of shit, that like that are like afraid to say how they really feel. And
yeah,
I mean, I'm just gonna, whether I'm right or wrong or somewhere in between, like I'm just gonna be here and I'm just gonna say what I think. And I don't need training to speak my mind or be honest in an interview, you know. So, and I think kind of like you said, like I'm not, I'm wrong all the time. I'm not like a political scientist. I'm not a political commentator. I'm not anyone. And I think that's why the music connects with people, because I speak just like the people speak. I'm getting the same information that other people are getting from the internet and the news and stuff. The only difference is like I have a platform. I'm blessed with a platform where I can speak to more people. So, you know, I'm not going to use too many big fucking words or, you know, dissect or overanalyze. I'm just going to say what I think. And I mean, what a blessing that what I think is what so many millions of other people think, and they just don't have the opportunity to have their voice be heard. So, you know, I'm not always going to be the classiest or, you know, I'm a little uncouth and brash sometimes, but so is everybody else, dude. We don't need to clean up our act to get on TV or be in a magazine or be on the radio. Just like be yourself. The whole industry is full of this like fake, wrapped in plastic, overproduced, mass manufactured garbage. And you got all these people running around trying to figure out like, oh man, how can I make my photos better? How does my skin look better in my photos? How can we perfect the lighting? How can we shoot a better video? How can we reach more people? How can we get on the billboard? How can we get in the magazine? Dude, there's so much disingenuous, inauthentic art out there. Literally all you have to do to cut through it is to just be real and be yourself. You automatically stick out from the crowd when everybody else is pretending.
yeah, and I actually couldn't agree more because I mean, Eddie and I started the Patriots Prayer Network about a year ago, and getting everyday Americans, you know, not really looking for high profile people to join as much, but people who are on the up, that were working 9 to 5s, that believe in a higher message. And I mean, with what you said about, you know, your message resonating with so many people, I believe that folks like us are in the majority, right? But a lot of our voices are silenced out and shut down. So I do want to bring up my co-host from the Cowboys and Indians podcast. He's a Purple Hearted veteran, Steve. Oh, here we go. Got it right here. Okay, so this is Steve. He is my co-host on the Cowboys and Indians podcast, and being a Purple Hearted veteran, he's got decades of leadership experience in a broad scope of industries. He displays the America First principles beautifully. So, Steve, I know you had some questions for Tom in regards to his work with veterans. Because Tom, I mean, not only have you come from Canada to be a patriot here in America, but you've supported the troops here in America as well. So, Steve, I'll let you have at it.
Right. Honored to be here. Thanks, Tom, for joining us. I kind of want to just let you know that I've been listening to you for a while, probably around Snowflakes, maybe a little bit sooner. And I really kind of dug into your music. I went all the way back to "I'm So Crazy" in 2015. You know, and like everything that you put out has been like
That's
a journey.
embarrassing.
Dude, the lyricism on "I'm So Crazy" is so good. I love it.
Thanks, man.
But what I think a lot of people like about you is that you're an open book and you're relatable, and everybody can kind of resonate with the music because at some point in everyone's life they go through hardships, and I think it just speaks to a large audience. As a veteran myself, I got my Purple Heart in 2009, and had a lot of issues with the Veterans Affairs, and luckily I'm good now. You know, but it's kind of since I built my platform, it's been kind of my thing to help out veterans, and the things that you're doing with U.S. vets is extremely commendable. I don't know if you guys know who U.S. vets are, but they do housing and mental health support, and Tom has made some really astounding contributions to U.S. vets. What I guess my first question would be, what drew you into the support of veterans and being so forthcoming with helping them?
Well, I moved here 11 years ago,
Mhm.
and I lived in like the heart of LA when I first lived here. Well, South Central, but damn near close to the heart of LA. So
Mhm.
I was in the city a lot, and one of the most shocking things to me when I first moved here was at every on ramp, every intersection downtown, every homeless encampment. You see these guys sitting on the side of the road holding cardboard signs with a little box full of change. And I don't know how many people actually read those signs, but I would be willing to venture that people would be absolutely blown away by how many of those guys served.
Right.
And both of my great grandfathers both served in the Canadian military.
Mhm.
They both have awards and rifles and helmets and stuff hanging all over their walls. And it was just always something I was really interested in when I was growing up. And I'd be
Right.
sitting in my grandma's chair, flipping through her 3-foot stack of tabloids from the supermarket, staring up at the wall at granddad's helmets and rifles and everything else that was hanging up there.
Right.
And it was really shocking coming here and seeing I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for those guys, first of all. Certainly not in the position I'm in right now. And to know that the people who paved the way for me and like so many others, and even like coming from Canada, dude, like
Mhm.
I've never been embraced by people the way that I've been embraced in America. When I came here, my dad gave me my granddad's wallet and he put $800 in it. And it was all my parents could give me. And they said, you know, my dad's last thing before I got on the plane, and he shook my hand and he said, "You have one job when you go to America, and that's
Right.
live up to your potential. The American dream is still alive and well, and it exists out there, but you have to work hard and you have to live up to your potential." And that was 11 years ago. And what started out with as $800, um, I parked a Lamborghini in the garage yesterday, and it's not lost on me that
Right.
those types of opportunities and stuff would not exist if it wasn't for the people who fought for this place. And to
Mhm.
see them out on the street like that begging for change,
Right.
I love the United States. I think it's the greatest country in the entire world, but the federal
Agree.
government should be ashamed of themselves for letting those guys be out there on the street like that. And it just touched me, dude. I got water in my eyes
Yeah.
right now. I was thinking about it. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible thing.
Yeah.
So, to me, it was just like I can't reap the benefits of America and enjoy my life in America and take care of my family in America if I don't give back in some sort of meaningful way. And to
Right.
me, there's a lot of places that I could have donated to or could have partnered with. Um, but on Veterans Day, on President's Day, on July 4th, I go out to the functions and I sit around and I talk to veterans and I support and I clap
Right.
and I hang out. That's just something that speaks to me, and I thought that would be the most direct vein into giving back and supporting. So that's really where it came from.
Absolutely. And we over the last 4 years before Trump got in office, we saw how veterans were kind of used as pawns, especially when the illegals were starting to pour in through the border. The VA was actually used to treat illegals. I don't know if you knew that, out of El Paso, and they were kicking veterans to the side via, I guess, teleconference visits so they can take care of the illegals. So luckily, the ship has been righted so far, and we can just keep going on with that. But I do really want to thank you for not only that you make contributions and stuff like that, but you also put it in your music. Many of your songs, you give a shout out to the vets and how this country wouldn't be where it is without veterans. So really do appreciate that.
Well, thank you, man. And anything that I can contribute to give back, you guys deserve so much more than that. So, hopefully, and it hasn't just been me; it's been my entire fan base.
Right.
We drop T-shirts, and the T-shirts are $25, and every dollar goes to vets. And I pay to have the T-shirts made, and other people
Mhm.
are buying the T-shirts. So it's not just me; it's like my
Right.
entire fan base has come together to support. So, and you guys deserve so much more than that, man. And appreciate everything that you guys have put on the line for the rest of us, for sure.
Appreciate that, man. So I do
Tell you
have a
what.
few more. Oh, you,
Well, one of the ways moving forward for the patriots of this country, and I think anybody who wants to see it succeed, is to embody the values you wish to see in this world. And from what I've seen, especially with the music you promote and the actions that you take, you really do. You embody those values, and you don't just you don't just say the right words in certain press conferences or anything. You actually put your money where your mouth is. You donate. You raise funds for veterans, and you really show your appreciation, not just with words but in actions. And I think that's one of the most important things we can do as a country. So anybody out there, who is watching this. Um, I would just like to say that Tom is one of the real ones
mhm.
who has done it, not just in words but in actions as well.
Thanks, man.
The way I've kind of built my platform is taking care of the people that support me, and I know you do too. So I would like to ask you some questions from some of my followers, because I like to give everybody a voice, and
Sure.
they're not bad, I promise you. Uh,
I don't care if they are, dude.
all right, so the first one comes from at Off Grid Armory on X. He wants to ask, "What is your favorite firearm?"
That's a
I
broad
have like
question.
a
Oh, that was a stumper.
yeah. Well, I have like I'm waiting on getting my license right now, so I have a whole. I can't speak to what's in the house because it
Yeah,
could
no,
get
no, no,
me.
we're not fancy. Don't worry.
Yeah, I could get in trouble. And I haven't been to the range. I went to the range with some police friends maybe like 6 months ago, and I think we were just like
Mm,
shooting 9 mils. But like back in Canada, um, we used to go out to the woods and cut down trees with shotguns and stuff.
Oh,
And dude, like the amount of splinters we got from those cedars, dude. But I don't know. That's always been like my buddy has like a combat shotgun. I've shot a couple times. That's like super
yep.
duper illegal. But like from a fun standpoint, probably
Mhm.
something like that because you can't miss. Um,
Right.
but yeah, and to be completely honest, dude, like I've been to the range in my life maybe like a dozen times. I'm not like
Okay.
I'm not like I don't know every make and model. Like my
I got
neighbor
you.
used to have a Norinco in Canada, which was like an automatic. It was like an assault rifle type thing,
Mhm,
and he had a sniper rifle. He was like a special ops Canadian Forces guy.
mhm.
Um, So like I don't really know names and brands and shit like that, but I'm just like the guy that like supports everybody should have a fucking firearm. Nobody
Right.
should have the option to take the fucking firearms away. Like it's insane that like that's even been on the table for the last 4 years. And like the only people that are trying to take your firearms away are the people that are trying to take advantage of people that don't have firearms. So
Absolutely.
I will say it is extremely difficult to keep up with a lot of this the gun knowledge, because especially like there's kids that like will play like Escape from Tarkov or whatever, and they'll memorize like every name of the gun, the style, the breakdown of it, and you know what ammo it uses. I'm like, I can't do all that.
dude,
I got
people try to talk to me about it all the time. They're like, hey, I just got this sweet like da 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 da, and I'm like, cool, dude. I have no fucking idea what that is, but like if it's powerful and fucking shoots fast, sick.
All right, really quick, before we get to a couple more questions, I do want to bring up Eddie, who is the co-creator of the Patriots Prayer Network. He has been sitting patiently in the background here, helping produce the show. I can't speak highly enough about this guy. He has kind of a similar story. He's an ex-con. He graduated from Hope for Prisoners, helped me create the Patriots Prayer Network, and he is, you know, I would say one of my best friends entirely. So Eddie, thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate you know, all you guys coming in and helping work with Tom here and kind of, you know, give a good interview. So Eddie, thank you. Oh, you're muted.
All right, sorry about that. Man, I just want to say thank you for taking the time, brother. It's been a long journey. It's been a long journey for PPN to get where we are, and God has opened a lot of doors for us. As you've seen in the intro, shouted out on stage with Trump, thanks to Michaela Montgomery. Shout out, Michaela. And I seen the video of you standing on the side when Trump shouted you out, and I know how that feels, brother. I was up for 50 hours when she did that, and I just got this second wind. So yeah, I appreciate you taking the time. Questions that I have for you range from like, you know, you have a lot of, obviously, you're talking about things that really rile people up. You're taking a hard line. There's no, you know, guessing what Tom thinks, which is why we love you. In that, what do you, if you were to tell somebody, okay, if you want to know who I am as an artist, listen to this song, which one would that be?
Oh shit, that's a good question. I guess maybe because a lot of the songs are about like specific things and represent maybe different parts of me or different parts of my life or phases that I've been through. I guess like the most accurate to who I am right now would honestly probably be Man in the Sky, because that's just like where I'm at. But it doesn't, you know, it's not really overtly political. So I don't know, maybe something like Dirty Money or like Fake Woke or what, you know, one of these songs that sort of talks about or like, yeah, Dirty Money, or maybe like America that I did with Adam Calhoun. Like, I feel like those songs are sort of like overarching and touch on a lot of different things that I think and feel and talk about. So yeah, maybe like Fake Woke, Dirty Money, America, and most recently, obviously, Man in the Sky, because it's just kind of where I'm at presently in my day to day.
Gotcha. And you switch it up, all right? Usually, if you're a rapper, you're a rapper. If you're a singer, you're a singer. You kind of do whatever you feel in the moment, and you call it. I mean, I love it, and I follow it all the way. I mean, every time you drop a song, Eddie's right there. Maurice, Steve, let's do a reaction. Hey guys, we got to do a reaction. But one of the songs you did was Balloons, and out of all of the hooks and all of the thing, that has to be probably the one that for the hook is the one that speaks to me the most. But the lyrics in that song are pretty dark, and I know Hangover Gang fans want to know where you were coming from with that particular song, because it's pretty dark. Was that something you were going through?
Yeah, or something that I had gone through just previous to writing it. I have a really hard time, especially with songs like that are deeply personal and dark, as you said. Uh, I wouldn't write that song like while I was going through it. That's not something that I'd be able to do. But immediately following coming out the other end, I can reflect on it quickly, and write the song, immediately following thereafter. So yeah, I mean, it was something that I was going through at the time. This is a very difficult business, and it's a very difficult um lifestyle, which I'm very grateful for, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. But there's growing pains like along the way that are, especially when you're making the type of music that I'm making. It To me, good art, in however you want to present it, whether it's something super abstract and artsy, or if it's something really direct and like controversial and shocking, like the stuff that I do, and whether it's a painting or a song or a movie or whatever, I think that like truly great art like inspires discussion and creates conversation and makes people feel uncomfortable, and allows people to examine their own thoughts and feelings in the way that they live their life and compare it to what they're seeing in the art. It causes like reflection. And at that point in time, I had been sort of like speaking my mind and doing it in a way that was labeled by a lot of other people as like super controversial and really offensive. And I mean, maybe it was naive of me, but I really did not expect how overwhelmingly negative many of the reactions to the music would be. Now, looking back on it now, I don't know how I would have thought anything different, but I was just so in the moment at the time and so interested in saying what I had to say and doing it in the way that I wanted to do it, that I wasn't really worried about what the response would be. And I never really considered what the response would be. And, it got to a point where like Nova and I are getting death threats constantly, and just having a phone, it feels like you're carrying the world around in your pocket all the time. And when you're not used to dealing with that, when you're coming from hot off of addiction and hot off of a mental breakdown and hot off of being dirt poor and hot off of being a loner for the last year and a half because you couldn't speak to your friends because you were too fucked up with anxiety and depression and withdrawals and everything else. When you go to having from zero communication and nobody knowing who you are or caring who you are, I mean, you're a ghost in the world at that point in time. And there's beauty in that and power in that. And then all of a sudden being thrust into this position where millions of people are saying, you're a racist, you're transphobic, you're this, you're that, you're terrible, you're awful, and we're going to kill you, and like all of this terrible shit. It was just like a really dark time. Like, one of the lines in that song was, I got weapons hidden inside every single room in my house. And I still do. But at that point in time, it was new to me and it was uncomfortable for me to open the drawer of my desk and I'm looking for a pen and there's a firearm or a knife or a taser or whatever it is. Like, it was uncomfortable. So that song just came from a really uncomfortable place in my life where for the first time since sort of overcoming my mental health issues, they were creeping back in and I was feeling pressure and anxiety and depression and all of these things that I hadn't felt in so long. And, they were initially the cause of substance abuse. And now what's causing them is an extremely rapid ascension through music and fame and all of this other stuff. And I just was finding it at that point in time very, very difficult to deal with. So that's where that song came from.
I get you.
Well, I will say, hang on a second really quick, Eddie. A lot of conservatives and people on the right now are experiencing this, especially with Elon Musk buying X and giving the actual right wing part of the country a voice, is that they're realizing that they become a target as soon as they speak up, and to varying
Look at
levels of
the
degree.
swatting that's going on, right?
Yeah, exactly. With varying levels of degree, everybody kind of experiences that, and right now there's a lot of conservatives being targeted. We did a podcast the other night with a couple, with Sean Farash and Mike Engelman, two of the gentlemen that have gotten swatted that kind of feel like you described in that song perfectly, which is, they don't feel like they're the biggest thing in the world. They don't feel like what they're saying is all that controversial. A lot of it's common sense, but they're still becoming the target. And I feel like over the years, Tom, you have been able to stir things up by saying something that shouldn't be controversial, but for some reason it is. You're not out there promoting WAP to little kids. I mean, you're actually bringing a level of patriotism and truth into the industry that other people, especially right now, are starting to feel and be able to resonate with a lot of that music, just because of the fact that they're becoming a target as well, and it's something that we all share. And you know what? It's okay. The courage that you show, I mean, you helped lead the path to breaking through that barrier and breaking through the fear of becoming a target, and you showed that you can be successful despite that.
And you know what, man? I think that success, and thank you for that. And I think that the success that I've had should be a sign for everybody else. I think there's a lot of energy that goes into silencing not just conservative voices, but people that are just outspoken and that are speaking their mind. If anybody has an opinion or a perspective or a point of view that doesn't directly run parallel with or align with whatever the mainstream narrative is at the time, those people become silenced. Sometimes silenced in ways that are worse than others. So I think that because of that, there's a lot of people that feel alienated and alone because they're not hearing other people reiterate things that they're thinking in their own mind or speak things that they're thinking, because they've all been silenced. So people that think like I do or like you guys do or like somebody else does might feel totally alone because they're not hearing the voices, because the voices are being shut down. So I think that if you just look at the success that my music's had, you should be able to deduce from that hey, there's actually tens of millions of people out there that agree with me. They're just not being heard. And if nothing else, even if you don't like my music or you don't like me or whatever, you should be able to look at that and realize that you can be brave enough and you can have the courage to stand up and say what you want to say. And there's people out there who will embrace you for it. And if there wasn't, then Fake Woke wouldn't have 50 million views. So there's at least 50 million motherfuckers out there that feel the same way as you do. So don't be afraid to speak up and say so.
Yeah, you start that song off by saying you label me as controversial and Cardi B is the role model for 12-year-old girls. And then in another song, you say we won't turn your sons into thugs or your daughters into hoes. And so you're putting out a positive message. So to get so much hate for putting out a good message just tells you where the world's at today, that you are the controversial one and you're saying things that align with family values, with godly values, with a lot of these things. But my question for you is, are there songs that you have in the vault that you just said, I can't release that, I can't say that?
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. So there are tons of those. Okay.
Tons.
Okay.
And I've been slowly building up that bank because I'm just going to put them out on CD eventually. And if they make their way to the internet, then at least I'm not going to be responsible for it.
I get you. And everybody, and I'm just saying, everybody wants to know, and I hope I'm not putting you on the spot by asking, but when are we going to, see those wedding photos with you in Nova?
This year.
There it is, guys. There it is. I said,
dude, I have the most, I can't get too deep into it, but I have the most incredible plan for the official proposal. I mean, Nova and I both have known, like 17 years. She put me on my very first rap show ever. We traveled far and wide, separate from one another, and always ended up back together somehow. So we've been like best friends for like 16, 17 years. So, I mean, we've known for at least 10 of those years that we were going to get married one day. And I think, I mean, as silly as it sounds, like when you find the person that like, oh, this is my person. I love this person. This person loves me. This person makes me better. I'm never going to be able to find another person that loves me the way that this person loves me and that I love them, vice versa. When all of those sort of what ifs and questions have been answered, for us, I think it took a little bit of the urgency off of getting married. Like we already knew, okay, we're going to be together forever and we're going to get married. So like, let's just take care of it when we have the time to take care of it. And when you're working 20 hours a day, running, an independent music business that exists outside the music industry's ecosystem, it doesn't leave very many hours in the day to do other things, but it is a priority. But we just never rushed for the altar in the last few years because we were just like, okay, let's establish ourselves, let's establish our business, let's set ourselves up insulated from Hollywood, insulated from the music industry. Let's get our financial feet underneath us, and then let's build a family and get married and do all that stuff. And it just, it just never seemed urgent because we were just so sure of one another,
I don't want to forget to pay the bills, guys. And Shop with America is in the chats, and I got to play the commercial. We'll be right back, guys, with more of Tom MacDonald. We'll be right back in a second.
Welcome to Shop with America, where the emphasis is on America. Our movement is to switch away from your shopping with the big box stores and the mega corporations back to supporting family-owned, made in America. We've been giving these big box stores our money every day for years. But what's happened is they forced many small businesses to shut down. We call this the illusion of choice. We see all these products in these stores, but in reality, it's only a few companies that control it all. There are thousands of lawsuits for health damage because they put profit over our people. But there is another choice. We found a better way. There's a family-owned American factory with product integrity and have always done things the right way for the right reasons. And this company outperforms the big box stores. That's due to their month-to-month shopping club. They make everyday consumer products that we all use and buy again and again, like toothpaste, shampoo, coffee, and organic beef. Go to shopwithamerica.us today.
So, yeah, guys, if you haven't already and you call yourself America First, go to shopwithamerica.us and get set up today. You're just going to buy all the same stuff you already buy. Toothpaste, soap powder, dish liquid, whatever it is, except for it's going to be made in America by Americans without stuff that's going to kill you. So go check them out today. They're awesome people and they sponsor us. So they got to be awesome people. One more question I got for you. In the rap industry, I heard you say you built your house across the street because you're not welcome as a guest in the house of hip hop. Right. Mm-hmm. But in this like patriot movement, this genre that I think you created, and you got a lot of people that now exist in that genre that I think you started. Do you get pushback even from within that genre of people that are, because I've only ever heard you have like one rap beef, and that was settled pretty quickly and pretty divisively.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say his name, but there is another current one, and I won't say his name, but I don't see it, brother. You have paved the way for these people to be able to make money and be heard, and you've developed an audience that they can now basically get heard by. What is your message to people that maybe, they want to be heard, they want a voice, they want to rap? I would love to do. Yeah, I'm a bit of a rapper myself.
Oh shit. Okay.
No, I'm dead ass serious. Dead ass.
No, I'd like to hear it.
He was rapping with Bryson Gray.
Yeah, we were on
when
the
we
roof
went to
freestyling.
Detroit.
Yeah. Yep.
This
Straight
guy.
freestyling, dude. I'm telling you. But you know, there are people that rap and it's a lot of hyperbole and that sort of thing. But you're talking real life stuff, and you know, what if anything would be your message to those that are trying to come up, but they're trying to do it on the backs of other people who paved the way, like yourself? Because that's what things happening anyway.
I mean, I don't know. I hope that's what's happening. And as far as like the rap beefs and stuff go, I know who the first guy you're referring to, but I have no idea who you're referring to with the second guy because I just do not pay it.
It's up church. It's up church.
Yeah, I do not pay attention to any of it, man. I saw so many other dudes get like wrapped up in it and start living in it and releasing so many songs and stuff. And to me, it's just like, bro, like I don't even know any of these people. So to not like me and to like never even have met me or known me, I mean, like, okay, go ahead, bro. Like nobody over here gives a fuck. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I hope people are coming up off the backs of people like me. Like at the end of the day, like that's the point. Like there's people that paved the way for me, like the Eminems of the world and everybody else. And whether I agree with his political stance or even am a fan of his newer music, like, you know, I saw him standing up on stage next to Kamala and Obama and all that stuff during the campaign. And like, does that suck? Like, sure. Yeah. Do I agree with it? No. Like, am I a fan of his new music? Not really. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, does that really fucking matter? Like he paved the way for guys like me. I didn't realize I could even, the first rap music I ever listened to was Tupac, All Eyes on Me.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I was allowed to rap.
Well,
I was a kid. And then I heard, you know, Eminem, and I was like, oh, he's got white skin like me and blue eyes like me and blonde hair like me. And I guess, okay, he's created some sort of portal for me to enter that world. So that I'm going to use that. So it's ultimate respect forever for paving the way for me. And if people feel like I've paved the way for them, whether they like me or don't, I mean, I don't really give a fuck. Like you use the road and run as fast as you can and go as far as you want to go, dude. Like
you're not one to pull the ladder up behind you. You know, after you get successful, and I think a lot of people really see that in your actions and the way that you're not punching down to keep kind of exclusivity on your success. You're just building success, and a rising tide lift all boats. I mean, in all reality, that's what we're trying to do here at the Patriots Prayer Network.
Yeah.
Is we're trying to reach out and get as many patriots as we can that want to speak up and really make a difference for this country, and you know, without trying to bring anybody down in order to let us up. So,
yeah,
Steve,
sure.
I know you had a couple more questions, Steve.
That's fine. So I got two more. One comes from Queen Anti-Commie on X. So we kind of touched this on a little bit.
Love the name. Great name.
She's very anti-communist. But anyways, what is your most favorite song that you've ever made? It could be rather
honestly
song or music video.
Probably Ghost, because I wrote it for Nova, and that was the first time I ever departed from you know, pretty much strictly rapping, and made like a pop song. And I felt like it went to radio and it went #1 on Billboard. And I feel like pop music is sort of like the antithesis of like everything that I am.
Right.
And to be able to sort of like infiltrate that genre, like the whole time that we were spinning on the radio and the whole time that it was #1 on Billboard, I felt like we'd like kicked the door into a room that we weren't supposed to be in, and we were just standing in it like, fuck you.
Didn't they try to stop your #1 ascension there by buying clicks or something?
Say what?
Didn't they? And is that the one that they were doing something foul? Jelly Roll spoke about it recently too.
Yeah, so I don't know about, I mean, I'm sure of course they buy clicks, but I don't think that was the case with that song. I think probably what you're referring to was, and I don't know if it was that song or a different one. Either way, we were up against like Nicki Minaj or some shit, and we were competing for the top spot, and like I'm like 99% sure that Nicki signed to Universal, And like their strategy was like, so we had knocked Nikki out of number one, and so she was at number two. And obviously, I feel like every time I go number one, there's people in record labels that are just like pulling their fucking hair out. Like they're so mad about it, and I get a lot of satisfaction from that. But their strategy was to release the same song in like, I think it was 12 different formats. So they released the original song, which we beat. And then the next day, a bass boosted version and an instrumental dropped. And then the next day, a remix and an a cappella version dropped. And then the next day, like another remix and another version. So they ended up having like 12 versions of the same song. And the way that these songs are counted by MRC data, which is who counts the numbers and reports them to Billboard for the charts. The way that the songs are accounted for is every song has a unique UPC code, and it's pretty much like an ID card for a song. And all of her 12 songs went up because they were derivative versions of the original song. The UPC code for all 12 songs was identical. So then when it came time to do the accounting for the numbers and who sold what and whatever, they could combine all of those 12 versions into one UPC code, and that was the number that we had to compete with on Billboard, which we ended up still winning. But it's just like dirty pool, you know, like what a weird way to go about doing your business. And it's just like they shadow ban people and censor people in all types of different ways all the time, but at least they're fucking covert about it and secretive enough about it that it's difficult for anybody to point a finger and say, hey, this is exactly what's going on here. And they do it covertly and in secret on purpose, so that we look all crazy when we're like, oh, they're shadow banning my shit, they're suppressing my shit. And people roll their eyes and go, oh yeah, just another unsuccessful fucking right-winger making music that can't compete. So the part that blew my mind was that like they weren't even trying to hide it. It was so obvious what they were doing. Every day, 3 more versions of the songs drop publicly on the charts. It was just like, this is insane to me, you know? Yeah, somebody just said they counted the votes with the Dominion machines.
You know, I will say, Tom, that one of the most favorite things that you do specifically is you highlight Nova. And you highlight the relationship that you have and how instrumental she was, you know, in making you the man you are today. In a lot of ways, I do my best to try and highlight my wife in a similar fashion, you know, because like I wouldn't be sitting in the spot talking to you, Tom MacDonald, if it wasn't for my wife. She's Lady Patriot on next to you guys, but she has inspired me to do so much, and I know that behind the scenes, and I mean, even in front of the camera, Nova's done that much, if not more, for you. Is there anything you wanted to really highlight about that relationship on the podcast here?
I mean, I don't know what else I could say about Nova that I haven't said already, but she's just out of all the people I've met in my life, men or women, she's literally the strongest person I've ever met, the most resilient person I've ever met. I've never even come close to being around anyone that's able to match my willingness to work my hands to the bone. And like, dude, when I did this song like years ago called Don't Look Down. And yeah, and dude, like Nova has like all of these, she just got some immune system stuff going on. She has some really acute respiratory problems. And like the night that we were shooting Don't Look Down, I remember hearing this, like, I was sitting on the couch waiting to shoot, and I could hear this like smack, smack, smack. And it was like coming down from the hallway. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I peeked into the hallway, and Nova was crawling on her hands and knees down the hallway because she couldn't breathe. And she was passing out. And I called an ambulance and carried her into the driveway in my arms and put her down in the driveway when the ambulance rolled up. And they had to put the oxygen mask on her and all this stuff. And it was fucking horrifying. And it's happened a couple other times, but that one was especially shocking. And they hooked her up to all these machines and gave her oxygen and give her some cortisone shots and da 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 da. And 45 minutes later, she's standing behind a camera shooting Don't Look Down.
Wow.
So there's no way that I'll ever be able to repay Nova or do her justice, man. She's an incredible musician, and the only thing that she's better at than being an incredible musician is being just a one of one first class grade A girlfriend. So
Go ahead, Steve. I know you're waiting there, buddy. I know you
No,
go.
it's fine. That was an incredible story, Tom. Yeah. Oh man, I couldn't even imagine, what you've been through, and having someone to stick by your side this entire time. That's really incredible, and what pushes you and drives you forward.
and she
Um,
doesn't even fucking agree with a lot of the shit I say in my song. Is that she still shows
right,
up and shoots the videos and stands next to me on the internet all day. Like Nova's
right,
got her own Nova's got her own life going on, bro. And she
yeah,
streams and does all of these other creative ventures. And she's
mhm,
continually being persecuted by other communities because of things that I've said in my music.
right,
And I don't know if I was in her position and my significant other was as prominent a player as I am, and they were saying this many things that I disagree with as loudly as I say them. I don't know if I could hang in there. And she's hung in there and stood next to me, and she's been canceled herself just
yeah,
because she's guilty by association.
correct,
And I think that takes a hell of a girl. So
absolutely. The last question I have is probably the most controversial. It comes from Kilborn
fantastic.
1776. How do you feel about Canada possibly becoming the 51st state?
Ooh, good question.
I don't think it's ever going to happen. It'd be fantastic if it did, though.
Yeah.
I have a lot of family and friends still up in Canada that I think would be
Mm,
much better off if they were part of the United States. I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like I escaped Canada before it really got out of hand. And I
right.
feel like it's out of hand now. I have friends. I have a friend in Canada. And she just had a baby boy. And when they found out that she was pregnant, this was in the middle of COVID and
Right.
vaccine mandates and people
Crazy.
losing jobs and watching their loved ones die through plexiglass and just heinous, evil shit.
Yep.
It was in the middle of that. And when they found out she was pregnant, they said, "We're moving to Mexico." And they left Canada, had the baby in Mexico, got their Mexican citizenship, and lived in Mexico. Um, and if that doesn't speak to the state that Canada is in right now, that people are leaving Canada to give birth to children
Right.
in what in many respects is a third world country. I mean, I don't know what else is going to convince you that Canada's in a bad way, because 15 years ago, hearing, oh, these people are leaving Canada to go to Mexico to give birth and become Mexican citizens, you wouldn't have believed it 15 years ago. And
Right.
that's how quickly this thing has rolled downhill and how much steam and momentum it's got.
Mhm.
So,
Saying
It all
universal
started.
healthcare don't work? Is that what
pardon
you're
me,
what, you're saying? Universal healthcare doesn't work? What? Oh my
dude.
god!
Like it's crazy. Like when I had a member of my family the other day had a health episode, and they needed to get an MRI to figure out what this actually was, if it was a stroke or if it was some sort of seizure, or they didn't know. They had to do an MRI. And the MRI was booked for like 16 weeks later.
Yep.
And I'm just like, this person could die in the next 2 days if you guys don't know what's going on. Like,
Yeah.
that is just unacceptable to me. And here, when I moved out to the States 11 years ago, one of the things I went through was I was having these really, really acute like headaches all the time. And they were
Mhm.
super localized. They're like in one little spot on my head, and it was like a fucking knife was just stabbing me.
Mm.
And it was scary because it would happen all day long and for weeks and weeks and weeks. And it just
Right.
finally got to the point where, I'm Googling it and I'm not finding anything good. And I'm like, shit, I gotta go to the doctor. So I go to the doctor and I tell the doctor what's going on, and she's like, yeah, I think we need to send you for like an MRI. And I was like, kind of jokingly, like, oh, what, you think it's a brain tumor? And she was like, looked me dead in the eyes and said, could be.
Oh.
And I was like, whoa, okay. So my only experience with healthcare at that point in time is like sick. 4 months from now, I'm going to get an MRI and find out that this thing's grown to the size of a grapefruit, and I'm going to be retarded in fucking 3 weeks. And so she's like, well, I can send you in tomorrow. Do you have $450 for an MRI? And I was like, yeah, I'll find $450 for an MRI. Like, let's go. Like, I'll go right now. I'll walk over there right now. Next day I had an MRI and they found out that I had this really acute deviated septum. Not sure how that happened. And it was giving me and it was giving me these terrible headaches. So but like, that was my first experience with the American healthcare system. And like, hey, it's great that you can go get the help that you need in Canada for free, but getting help in time is more important to me. So and
you pay in one way or the other, whether it be in time or money. And
that's it. That's it.
A lot of people say that time is money. So,
so I've had a similar experience with socialized healthcare, the VA. It's kind of that. So the military, the way they do, they pilot programs. So it started with integration before the Civil Rights Act, and it kind of progressed over until the creation of the Veterans Affairs healthcare system. And that was kind of like my real first taste of what socialized medicine can be. And like waiting for months to get actually a doctor's appointment with the VA, as a veteran. So I kind of can empathize with you on how the healthcare system in Canada is really terrible. And you spoke earlier how Canada is really going downhill, and that was really shown through COVID with the lockdowns, and then the truckers' protests, and then them shutting down bank accounts of all these guys, and it was just wild.
I personally know one of the guys that happened to.
Yeah.
So I thought the trucker protest was real badass, but I know a guy that literally showed up with a jerry can of gas. He wasn't even driving a fucking truck. Wasn't carrying a protest sign. Wasn't doing fuck all. He just showed up with a can of gas for one of his buddies that was driving the truck so he could keep the heat on in the truck. And they shut down his bank account for showing up with a can of gas. Yeah.
That's crazy. Tom, can I ask you to do us a favor?
Yeah.
I'll clip it later. But brother, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you for an endorsement. I'll clip it later, but you just let people know to watch the Patriots Prayer Network. Is this something you can do for?
Yeah, sure. What's up, guys? I'm Tom MacDonald. This is the Patriot Prayers Network. Check it out. Lots of good TV, lots of cool people. Tune in, keep it locked.
That's awesome. Thank you, brother.
No sweat.
And really,
I've been doing a lot of radio shout outs lately. So, I mean, I'm in promo mode. Let's go. You guys need anything else? You need me to sell a fucking toothbrush or something? I can do it.
Shop with America. There.
There you go.
Yeah, that is huge. If Canada did become the 51st state, Tom, would you be interested in running for governor?
Ooh,
that's a good one,
dude. Honestly, man, I don't think I do very well in that world. I'd be one of the guys that's JFK'd pretty early in my political career, I think.
Well, yeah, I could see that, but we're kind of redefining what it means to be a representative of the people, and I think that a lot of people have kind of endorsed you in a certain way. I mean, being the cultural icon you are now, which it doesn't matter that if you came from Snow, Mexico up there to be a patriot here. I mean,
you had to work in Snow, Mexico.
Yeah.
Way to work it in, bro. Way to work it in.
I was supposed to, but
I know I was waiting, but
Tom, so I had a viral tweet or post on X, and it was like, here are some stipulations that if Canada joins the United States, here are the following stipulations. And one was like, we'd have to get rid of the flag and all this stuff. And henceforth, all Canadians will be referred to as Snow Mexicans. And I got like 5 million views on this. So it kind of snowballed into like Snow Mexico and all this other stuff. But man,
that's great.
God.
So if you hear it, Steve started it.
Cool, man. I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear, Tom. I know that we're going a little bit over time here.
You're
but
good, man. You're good.
Okay. Whew. All right.
Are
yeah,
you
I
coming
just
to Vegas anytime soon, Tom?
Vegas?
Tom MacDonald show or anything like that?
I'll be there for WrestleMania.
Really?
April 19th and 20th.
I tried
Participating
to get
or watching?
We'll see.
Yeah. To get WrestleMania tickets, it's a 3-day event, if I'm not mistaken, and it's like $3,000 or $4,000 just to get in at that rate. It's nuts.
I know some people.
All right, I'll give him my contact info. Go to WrestleMania.
Okay, got it.
Go to WrestleMania with Tom.
Do you ever have so I got a list of questions here too, but did you ever have like a really weird fan encounter with going in? I mean, you're a cultural icon now. Is there any experience that because I mean, I'm not famous, like you are. So people they kind of have an awkward time coming up to you. But do you have any advice in any way for people that do want to come up and say hi? If you are kind of out and about, is there any way that people can approach you that feels all right to you?
Not really, man. I'm pretty cool about it. I think that most people, just because I've been on social media for so long and, just doing stuff like this and doing live streams and telling people about, sort of, this is what I just talked about, the shit that I went through with Nova, with her breathing. And I've talked about my mental health problems and addiction problems. And like my whole life is like pretty much out there. So I feel like people, like, even before they have a relationship with like the music or are a fan of the music, they kind of have like a pretty real relationship, like with me, like the person, and not just the music. So I feel like a lot of people are really comfortable, and they have a really good idea of like who I am and how I communicate and stuff. So like literally 99.9% of the time, people are just like, are you Tom? And I'm like, yeah, what's up? And it's that easy. So I've never really had somebody. Yeah, I've never really had somebody come up and, there's been people that have cried and are shaking and stuff like that. And but like I understand. Like I too am somebody that have dealt with a lot of anxiety in my life, and I got misty-eyed twice in this interview. Like I understand what having emotions is like, and being overcome by them once in a while is not such a big deal. So you just usually hug it out with those people, and they're fine. But yeah, most people are just really cool, man, because I feel like they sort of know me already. So there's not like this separation, like where you see fucking Dennis Quaid in a movie, and then you see him in person and you're like, oh shit, I actually have no idea who the fuck this guy is. I just know that I liked him in this movie. In this movie. But my music and stuff is so true to who I am that it's just people are like already know, like, oh, this guy might as well be my fucking neighbor. You know what I mean?
I did the same thing. Coming out of prison and having that whole background, I've always talked about it. I've been open about it because I don't want to get so far along doing what we're doing, and we are breaking through the glass ceiling. It's a fact. We're growing all the time, and I don't want someone to come out of left field like, hey, guess what I find out about this guy? Like, no, I've said it a million times. You're not telling anybody anything new. So the guy who I just got baptized last year by John Ponder up in Utah, the guy that Trump he pardoned at the end of his first term, and that was the reason I went through Hope for Prisoners, was because Trump endorsed the program. So in a lot of ways, Trump is responsible for a lot of this in a roundabout way. But yeah, I put it out there. I am what I am, and my past is my past. We have a lot of things in common when it comes to some of the things in your past. And
sure.
So it's good to know where you are now and be able to look back on that stuff and be like, that's not the person I am now. And look at that. Like, it's a completely different individual.
Yeah,
I mean,
God
completely
too, man.
different, different individual completely. I'm sure everybody's got a similar story in some regard.
Sure.
We got a super chat here, and I just want to bring up, so Forced Name
Absolutely.
Change says, "Hey Tom, love your music, so do my kids. If you ever get tired of being at the top of the regular charts, perhaps you should pull a Matt Walsh and top the children's charts. Tom MacDonald had a farm."
Actually, a great idea. I've never had a #1 in children's music. Maybe I'm gonna have to take him up on that. But I mean, Nova wrote a children's book. I think it was last year or the year before. It was sort of in the height of critical race theory and sort of the woke washing of American curriculums. And there was all of these books coming out that, like, like My Dad is My Mom, and like the ABCs of like the LGBTQ community, and like, there's all these just totally wildly progressive books making their way into school libraries. And Nova was like, this is fucking weird. Like, I'm gonna write my own children's book that's just about like being a kid and not about like all of these other adult themes. So she wrote a children's book, and she sold thousands of copies, and it did like incredibly well. And I don't know why I didn't witness that and think, we need a soundtrack to this motherfucker right now. But I didn't think that. But it's a great idea.
We have another super chat here. Says, appreciate you guys. Y'all rock. Great show from Real Ken Walls. And Ken, I share spaces with Ken sometimes. Great guy.
Cool.
So,
hey Tom, is there anything coming up that you're excited about that you wanted to share, or that you got going on?
Yeah, I'm pretty mysterious. So like, I don't know when it's going to be, if it's going to be this Friday or next Friday or what, but super crazy video coming out right away.
Nice.
Yeah.
when are you going to go on tour? Is there going to be a Hangover Gang tour?
So, oh man, what a fucking ride the touring thing's been. So I did like 3 or 4 tours through the States, and then I had a tour where I was opening for Falling in Reverse, and another tour after that, but like COVID hit and all the fucking venues got shut down and all the tours got canceled. Right. And like, it was just this huge mess of shit. And then with Nova's immune system stuff and respiratory problems, it was just like this really dicey thing where I was like, because she opens for me and has opened for me, like, and since we're independent, like Nova tour manages and does all of the tour stuff, because I don't hire like an agency. Like, I have one friend who books the shows and then Nova tour manages. And I was just like, ugh, fuck. Like, Live Nation was hitting me up to like sign me to do some tours with Live Nation, and I don't like Live Nation, and I don't like the way they do business, and they take cuts from artists, and you play in exclusively Live Nation venues, and it's like the fucking major label of the touring world. So I was just like, fuck it. Like, you know what, Nova, I won't fucking tour until you're comfortable with being in a room full of 5,000 people and work in the merch booth and doing the tour managing and da. So that, like, obviously, like, wasn't really an option for her during COVID. Like, I mean, I've watched her literally spend a week in the hospital from getting a seasonal cold once. Like if she gets sick, it's not like, oh, you got the sniffles and you'll be fine. It's like fighting for your life for fucking a month. Like,
Hashimoto?
Pardon me?
Hashimoto's? She got
what the fuck? Are you speaking English?
I don't know what he's saying either.
Hashimoto's. It's like it's like an autoimmune thing.
No, that's the guy that rings the bell in Hunchback of Notre Dame. But no, she has. I don't want to say that's her thing to talk about. I'm being vague on purpose about her stuff.
No, my wife has it, and she has a similar problem. Whenever she gets sick, it's like normal sick. It's like a cold is like a really super bad flu.
Yeah. So it was a little bit of just like a confusing ride for me, because I'm just like, I'm like the biggest I've ever been in my life right now, and I want to get out and do shows, and I can't because my tour manager is a fucking lemon. And so it was a weird thing. And then, like, combined with that, like, I'm like a homebody, dude. Like, I've adapted to being in the spotlight and on the forefront of things, but like I'm a really quiet loner, leave me alone. I have 5 people that are very, very close to me, and my family, of course, but like, you know, the friends that I've had for 15, 16, 17 years. And those are the people that I talk to and confide in, and those are the people that I have around me. And I'm just really not like a big interview guy or, you know, be out in the world guy. I just like being here. I have 5 dogs. I like hanging out with my dogs. I like hanging out with my girlfriend. I like making music, shooting music videos, and climbing mountains with my dad and taking my mom out to lunch. And like, that's what I do. So going on tour and being on the road for 30, 40, 50, 60 days at a time, away from my dogs, away from my bed, away from the environment that I'm most comfortable in, it's just like brutal for me. Like I hate it. Like the only good part of tour is like getting on stage, performing, shaking hands with people, signing autographs, taking photos, like that shit, best part of the gig by far. But driving fucking 15 hours through the middle of nowhere, Iowa, like sucks ass, dude.
Well,
like you can only listen to so many podcasts, you know?
Are you teasing another collab with you and Adam Calhoun? Is that?
Oh, there's always going to be another collab with us, I'm sure. But
we would love to talk to him as well, brother.
Yeah, he'd be down. So the way that I've got it figured now is the best way for me to avoid and I was a pro wrestler before I was a musician, and there was a lot of travel involved in that too. And like, never been a fan of being on the road. The destination is great, the shows are great, but that the travel time I just hate. So the way that I've got it figured is this year I think we're gonna do like 6 festivals that are gonna be Hangover Gang festivals. We're gonna do 1 out west, like 2 central, couple out east, and 1 down south. And people can just drive in, you know, and we're going to try and have them situated in a fashion where you're not going to have to drive, you know, longer than a couple hours, and you'll hit the festival. So that's sort of the plan, is to do like 5 or 6 festivals, and hopefully get a bunch of like-minded artists like the John Riches and Adam Calhouns and those types of folks, and you know, maybe Dax and Nova and my homie Brandon from Canada. Like, just try to have like-minded artists at these festivals, and do it that way. So that's the plan right now, and it's in motion. I'm talking to people about it all the time, finding venues and planning the thing out. So,
well, I'll tell you what, Tom. Out in Eagle, Idaho, we have a venue that we work closely with. It's the Old State Saloon, and we're hosting an event. It's for Hetero Awesomeness Incorporated, and this year we're celebrating you know, traditional families, and you know, if you ever wanted to come out to Eagle, Idaho, in a very, 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 very small venue, you're more than welcome to. I know the owner. He's a nice guy. So
cool. Awesome, man. I appreciate the invite. Thank you. Love the name.
Yeah, it's going to be good. We're really looking forward to it. We are an hour and a half in, Tom.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that you came here with us today, and I'm really looking forward to everything you got coming out. This has been an absolute blessing for me, and for hopefully everybody here got to know you a little bit better. And you know, I don't know if you're planning on doing more interviews, but whenever you would want to come back, we'd be more than welcome to have you on. You're an absolute living legend in the music industry.
Agreed.
You've changed the way people have kind of understood how to make it as a successful artist, and you did it not only by yourself, but you know, with Nova, and showing that how inspirational your family has been. So with family values, traditional values, I mean, that's what we promote here at the Patriots Prayer Network. And I can't thank you enough, Tom. Thank you for coming and doing this.
Absolutely. And I want to highlight, we just got a super chat for $50 from the American Heart. It says, Tom, you've inspired me to make a full LP of my own. If you have 5 minutes, please listen to my track, American Nightmare. It says, I never would have made music if it wouldn't exist if it wasn't for you. So I don't know. But yeah, so you're inspired.
Hopefully his music's better than his grammar, right? But
I think it's just Eddie reading.
No, it's not. It's not. I read it exactly as it's written. But no. I'm known for the typo as well, so it's all right.
Gotcha. Well, thanks for having me, guys. I really believe in what you guys are doing, and I hope it continues to grow. And I hope there's a ton of vertical latitude on the other side of that glass ceiling that you guys are breaking through. And I think what you guys are doing is kick ass, and super happy to be a part of it. Glad to come back anytime you want to have me, and fucking rock and roll, guys.
We can be the Hangover Gang media arm of podcast.
Cool. Well, you already are. Do you want to cut me a promo that I can post on my socials?
Absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely. Why wouldn't we?
You got to wrap it though. People want you to wrap.
I got to wrap it. Oh my
Give
God.
me something. Give me something. You made the claim.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
Okay. Why should I awake when this place is what awaits me? I'm sick of being here. I just think about escaping. Visions in the dark. My sanity is breaking. Blood dripping down the wall. The reaper, he is waiting. Death is at the end, and no one can escape it. Life, it's not forever, but it's full of all the same shit. Repetitive, monotony. Look where life has gotten me. Confused, depressed, and anxious. I pass it to my progeny. My rhyming is terrific. It's the art of storytelling. That's why I speak my point. I'm sick and tired of yelling.
Hell yeah,
all right.
Dude.
All right.
You
gotta give it up. I feel like you low key just crushed that on the spot like that. Super dope.
No, I do this, man. I've been working.
He's just trying to get a collab.
That's how I used to eat in prison. No.
Well, all that rapping you did in the clink, like, it shows, dude. That was all right. I'm not mad at that at all. Good for you. That was awesome.
When can I get his feature? When am I going to be on the
I'm trying to get that feature. Send me an email and I'll. What's your budget?
What's my budget? Zero. How many super chats do we have right now?
I don't have to plug my fridge into my neighbor's house anymore, bro. I'm out rapping for free.
No, I want to rap for you, not the other way around. I shouldn't have said I want you as a feature.
So you want me to put you on one of my songs?
Oh yeah.
What's your budget?
I get it.
We'll get there one day.
Yeah,
hey,
one day.
Once again, you guys, please share this podcast. The Patriots Prayer, Tom MacDonald, living legend in the industry. Thank you for coming on. You guys, thank you all for tuning in. Please share it around. We'll see you next time.
Appreciate you guys for having me. Much love.
Thank you for coming, brother.
Adios, boys.
Take it easy.
See you later, Tom.
How cool was that, dude? I am beside myself. I got to rap for Tom MacDonald.
Oh yeah, I'm clipping that. That's going around, man.
I'm glad nobody asked me to do that because I was like, shit, I'm white as they come, bro. I can't do nothing.
Nah, brother. Later on today, guys, look out for that interview with Ann Funder. I will be having that. We'll be talking about the speech she gave with Trump day before yesterday. That'll be later today. It'll also be on the Rumble premium deal. So come check us out for that. Thanks everybody today who subbed. We got so many subs today, and we're so grateful. We're so grateful. We've been trying to build this Rumble channel forever, and to crack 5,700 and still grow. We just can't say thank you enough, guys. For real.
Yeah, we can't do it without your support, guys. So if you can, please share this podcast out, spread the word, and just follow all our socials. And we can only grow if we get the support from you. So thank you.
Yep. And it won't. We will be reposting this, but it won't be immediately. So look out. It'll go on YouTube. It'll go on the X channels. It'll go everywhere. But we wanted to exclusively do this for our Rumble because Rumble is where the Patriots Prayer lives. But we will spread it around after the fact. So thank you guys. So Kat, I saw your question, Kat, and that's why I asked him, was there going to be a Hangover Gang festival? I saw it. I pay attention. So evidently there will be. So there's your answer.
Awesome.
All right, you guys. Thank you very much. Anti-Kami, the last one, the last super chat of the day. Before we close this out, she says, Ghost is my favorite song too. Love Cowboys and Indians podcast. Thank you, Anti-Kami. You got a beautiful soul. I appreciate that. So we'll see you guys next time. Tune in, follow us all at Law Native Patriot, Eddie there at the Patriots Pray on X, and Steve at Steve Loves Ammo.
That's right. Peace.
Good night, guys.
See you later, guys.
My people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough.
This is the Patriots Prayer Podcast. It's a tremendous show, one of the greatest shows in the history of the world.
This is Bryce the Great, and you are watching the Patriots Prayer.
PPN, you're doing the right thing.
On the Patriots Prayer Network. Thank you all.
And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American.
I ain't never gonna pretend that I give a damn. Anybody who's offended, come get it, we throwing hands. Anybody not trying to make America great again. You a punk, you a clown, better know where I stand. I'm the white boy with the middle fingers in the air, dog.
We don't give a what.
100 white boys gonna hold me down anywhere, dog.
We think that you suck.
My Patriots, the craziest. They ain't afraid of breaking fists on faces. If you really wanna taste of this, no safety tip. The same mistake and spray the clip. I pray you miss, cause if you don't, they gon' go wacko. Automatic gun smoke like tobacco. Never hit a lady, but it's pretty hard to tell if you're a girl or a they, them. There's these, that, those. I ain't never gonna take a knee for the anthem. Smack them. I don't give a damn, can't stand them. Gang full of randoms, fan with a handgun. Run up in your mansion, leave it all abandoned. I was raised to be brave to the grave. United States, we love the country that they've been corrupting. Go woke and go broker if you ain't awake.
My people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flag.